What's up guys, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I hope you study English every single day, because today we're talking about how to make enough time for learning English, how to make enough time for learn any kind of language, and how to stay consistent, how to stay motivated. Learning language, learn English requires a lot of consistent time, a lot of consistent work. You need to be dedicated, you need to dedicate yourself, you need to be consistent, you need to study every single day. Probably that's like the hardest thing of learning English, because I know you can always come up with excuses, and these are like very valid excuses. I have a lot going on in my life, I have to study, I'm going to university, I'm going to college, I have a full-time job or I have a part-time job. I study for a few days or a few weeks and then I stop studying and then I start all over again, etc. I can't stay consistent. Studying for like a week so hard and then skipping a few weeks and then studying another week so hard is not gonna get you anywhere, okay? The only thing that will get you to that level where you speak English fluently like a native speaker is consistency, is hard work, is dedication. And today we're talking about how to manage your time, how to make enough time for learning English. The first thing and the most important thing, creating your documents, creating your study schedule, planning your study schedule ahead of time is like one of the most important thing before you start to learn English. Every 2 months or every 3 months, I would create my study schedule ahead of time. I would plan my study schedule, I would get the documents that I need for this, next 3 months, and I would make every single thing ready for my English learning process, so that during this process, during this 2 months or 3 months, throughout these 3 months, I don't waste my time, I don't spend my time planning out like, what I'm gonna do tomorrow or what I'm gonna do a week later. So first of all, you're gonna spend like first 3 weeks or 2 weeks preparing your study materials and preparing your study schedule. So the question is, how do we prepare our study schedules? Okay, I'm gonna give you one simple example. For instance, I prepared this study material schedule 3 years ago when I was learning English with the Crown. And I used to spend probably like 3 or 4 weeks working preparing this material. And in this study material, in these 5 episodes, there are about 1,000 words that I had to look up in the dictionary at the time. Okay, so the first step is choose your favorite TV show or movie. Download the subtitles of your favorite TV shows from this site. For instance, I downloaded the first season of The Crown. Normally, the first season is 10 episodes, but first of all, I'm gonna work on the first 5 episodes. I'm gonna spend probably like a month or 3 weeks working on these subtitles. Okay, so step 2. After watching The Crown twice, I start to work on the subtitles. I check out the words that I don't know in the dictionary. I make sure that I try to understand every single line, every single word, and if there is anything that I don't understand, I go and watch the part that I don't quite understand, that doesn't make sense to me. For instance, renounce, okay? I go check out this part if I don't understand what this word means. For instance, minute 1. One of the best thing about this script is you can always see the timeline, and if there is any part that is so confusing, you can directly go watch this part, So basically, I look up the words that I don't know in the dictionary, and as you can see, guys, at the time, there was 186 words that I didn't know in these episodes, okay? Then I move on to the next episode, and I do follow the same routine. And episode 2, 190 words. Episode 5, 234 words. So this is probably the most important part of studying English, but once I'm done with this, I'll be able to focus on only speaking and listening for the next like 2 or 3 months, okay? So basically, I have everything planned out and I know what I'm doing. Basically, by doing that, I would know what I was gonna do every single day for like a month or 3 months. That leads us to another point. Learn English with script methods. This method gives you very important advantage in terms of time management. The first advantage is when it comes to studying English, when it comes to learning English, you don't need to sit in your chair, since all you have to do is just repeat those lines without looking at the text like you go on an audition. You don't need to be in a very specific location. You can study with those script methods anywhere you are. You're in a car, you can practice your speaking.
I know. It was pure insanity. It's insanity. Ah! Lunacy. It's pure lunacy.
You're in the kitchen, you're preparing your food, you're preparing your meal, you can't practice your speaking. You're in the toilet, you can't practice your speaking. You're in the living room, you can't practice your speaking.
Would anybody like more coffee?
Did you make it, or are you just serving it?
I'm just serving it.
Yeah, I'll have a cup of coffee.
Would anybody like more coffee? Did you make it or are you just serving it? Did you make it or are you just serving it? I'm just serving it. Okay, I'll have a cup of coffee. Did you make it or are you just serving it? I'm just serving it. Okay, I'll have a cup of coffee.
Chandler, you know, the old Monica would remind you to scrub that Teflon pan with a plastic brush. But I'm not gonna do that.
The old Monica will remind you to scrub the Teflon pan with a plastic brush. But I'm not gonna do that. Chandler, you know what? The old Monica will remind you to scrub the Teflon pan with a plastic brush. But I'm not gonna do that.
Look! I cleaned! I did the windows, I did the floors.
Look, I cleaned. I did the windows, I did the floor. I see you moved to green ottoman. I see you moved to green ottoman. So I see you moved to green ottoman.
I see you moved the green ottoman. How did that happen?
How did that happen? Uh-oh. I don't know. I thought it looked better there. I don't know. I thought it looked better there. I don't know. I thought it looked better there. And also it's an extra seat around the coffee table. And also it's an extra seat around the coffee table.
And also, it's an extra seat on the coffee table.
You know what? Just for fun, let's see what it looked like in the old spot, just to compare.
Yeah, it's interesting. But you know what? Just for fun. Let's see what it looked like in the old spots. Yeah, it's interesting. But you know what? Let's see what it looked like in the old spots. Just to compare. Just to compare. Let's see. Oh, it looks good there too. Let's leave it there for a while. Oh, it looks good there too. It looks good there too. Let's leave it there for a while. Instead of sitting in my chair every single day, I will practice my speaking with the script method wherever I am. Whether I am in the kitchen or toilet or in the living room or in my room, I am always on my feet and walking around, pacing around in my room. I always practice my speaking with this method. The other very important thing is that I want you to do every single day is breakfast near transportation, make it a habit of your life. What does that mean? Okay, so English is not about just like studying every single day for like an hour or 2 hours. It's all about making a habit of your life. For instance, let's say you're on a transportation, you go to school, you go to college every single day, you're in your car, you're on the subway, and every single day, basically you spend an hour on the way each day. Let's say you go on a walk, you go exercise, listen to something in English. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you understand what you listen to or not. It doesn't matter if you're paying attention to what you're listening or not. You might be saying that, Arsan, when I'm in public, I can't pay attention to what I'm listening to. It doesn't matter. You don't have to pay attention to what you're listening to. You don't have to understand what you're listening to. This is all about making a habit of your life. 5 years ago, when I first started learning English, I made a decision. And this decision was, whenever I go outside, whenever I take a walk, whenever I commute to work or school or university, wherever I am, I'm always gonna listen to something in English. I promise this. During those 5 years, there is not even one single day that I haven't listened to something in English when I was outside. Hey guys, I'm on a walk right now and I'm listening to Billie Eilish, Vanity Fair right now. I took off the headphones. Basically, anytime I go on a walk, anytime I spend time in public or like, you know, let's say I'm on the subway to work or to university. Let's say, you know, I'm going to work, wherever I am, I always listen to something in English. I expose myself to English as much as I possibly can, okay? Anytime you have the chance, just listen to something in English, okay? Every single day, before you go to work or go to school, make sure that when you're having your breakfast, watch something in English for like 10 minutes. Watch one episode from Friends, like 10 minutes, and that's it. And every single night, let's say you're having your dinner, you make your dinner, and it takes like 20 minutes to finish your dinner approximately, and watch something in English while you're having your dinner. You need to make English part of your life, okay? The other thing is using your energy very wisely. During the day, throughout the day, your energy is gonna go up and down, obviously. You get home from work or college, you feel so tired and you don't feel like speaking English, okay? For instance, every single night after having my dinner, I feel so tired and I feel like I don't feel like speaking English. I'm dying, okay? When you feel the most tired and exhausted, you feel like you're dying, you don't feel like speaking English, you're gonna do shadowing. Why are you gonna do shadowing every single night? Because shadowing is all about mouth exercise, okay? It's all about exercising your muscles. The best part of doing shadowing is shadowing doesn't require any brain energy. You don't need to think about while you're doing shadowing. It's all about just running your mouth muscles, and that's all. So basically, every single night after dinner, when I feel like the most tired, I always do shadowing.
The journey, once you commit to just self-discovery and
The journey once you commit yourself to self-discovery and
so tomorrow I'm actually packing up and gonna go explore that.
so tomorrow I'm actually packing up. I'm gonna go explore that. Another thing, social media, guys. Social media. Okay, just right now, I just want you to stop this video and right now check out your screen time on your phone. If you use any social media app like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I just want you to check out and see how much time you spend on social media per day. Even if you spend an hour every single day on social media, make sure that you use the time that you spend on social media for learning English. That's gonna make a huge difference. When it comes to making enough time where you have a very limited time, you need to make sacrifices. This is where social media comes into play. You're gonna make sacrifices from social media. You're gonna use the time that you spend on social media for learning English. Even like an hour every single day you take from social media and you add to your English learning hours, that means 30 hours a month. That makes a huge difference when it comes to learning English. So because you're always gonna come up with excuses like I have a job, I feel so tired, I get distracted by many things, I have a lot going on in my life, I have upcoming exam. In order to make the most of it, in order to be the most productive, make sure that you turn off your phone, you turn off your PC, you just focus on your script, okay? So that you don't get distracted by any call, any message, or anything that you see on the internet, okay? Because we live in a world that it's so easy to get distracted by many things in our lives that is going on. So we always need to make sure that we reduce the distraction as much as we possibly can, okay? So basically, when I study English with my scripts, I always, turn on my computer, turn on my phone, and just focus on what I have to do in the moment. Always remember that learning language takes a lot of consistent work, okay? A lot of consistent, focused energy, right? I mean, you need to be consistent. You need to make English your #1 priority, okay? English is gonna be your center of your life, okay? You just need to make it a habit of your life. This is way more important than studying every single day, studying English every single day for like an hour or 2 hours, because that shows us that you're very determined that you intend to learn English. You're very determined that you want the English to be part of your life. I want you to keep this in mind. You don't need to make a leap, you don't need to work so hard, but you just need to make little steps every single day, because when those little steps combine with consistency, success is inevitable. Okay guys, so that's all I wanted to say in this video. How much effort you're gonna put into learning English is gonna depend on your goals, your dreams. This is my kind of like tips for you to learn English effortlessly. I will say that take every single opportunity, breakfast, dinner, public transportation, every single moment. If you have a chance to expose yourself to English, expose yourself to English. Every single day, try to study English for 2 hours and do shadowing every single night at night, and also study with script methods. You don't need to sit in your chair in order to practice speaking. You can study everywhere, wherever you are. And yeah, that's it. I hope this video was useful for you guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? Bye.